Toxic corporate culture. Let's talk about all the red flags.
The corporate world can be toxic, very, very, very toxic. And it's almost like if you're already working in London, if you're working in a corporate firm, chances are that if your personal motto isn't work hard, play hard, you're already out of the rat race. There's this ridiculous idea that you need to show your face, you need to work long hours, you need to always meet the client needs. And that might be even when you have to work really long hours late in the night so that you keep your clients happy rather than yourselves happy. And the idea of FaceTime not showing your face in the office, not being the first person in the office or the last person in the office, is almost tied to a sense of self-worth. And how toxic is that? And to top it all off, you may be in law and banking, consulting, working really long hours, but you do not get paid for overtime. And people say that, hey, bankers, consultants, lawyers earn a lot of money. When you actually boil it down and divide the amount of salary divided by the amount of hours we work, I'm telling you, most of us are working below minimum wage. Now, sometimes firms do recognize that we work long hours and they may decide to give you some of your days back in Louis. Basically, that means where you're basically giving your days back as annual leave. So they may give you 2 days back when you're actually worth like 20 days back. The idea that we're working long hours and not getting paid for it, in what world is that fair? Honestly, there's so much more of us than them. We should start protests, I'm telling you. The second red flag, which really annoys me, and I don't know who needs to hear this, is that partners and managing directors who book out meeting rooms for the whole day need to stop. And in London, in a lot of the offices, in a lot of the different firms around London, we end up having open plan offices. And that means no matter if you're an analyst, if you're a partner or director, you end up sitting next to each other. And that breeds collaboration, you get to bounce around ideas, you get to bond as a team. But partners and directors feel like they can book a whole meeting room for the whole day, and they get the EAs to do this for days, weeks, months, and it does not stop. And that means not only do I have less meeting rooms for all of us employees to use for our meetings, but two, it breeds this environment of exclusivity. Like, it feels like they're so senior that they get to have their own cabins, their own offices, when actually the whole idea of an open plan office is to kind of negate that no matter your rank, it doesn't make a difference. And it feels like a very traditional old white man stuffed culture by still doing that, to be honest. The third red flag, I almost feel that corporate cultures, it kind of stifles your personality. We get told a lot of things. For instance, tattoos. I mean, if you went into an interview with a tattoo, you'll almost be looked down upon. The idea of expressing yourself through makeup, through hair, through tattoos, whatever it is, there's these unwritten rules. Like, I got known for being the girl with the red lipstick every day, and I stopped wearing red lipstick to the office because of that. And you end up being known for certain things, like maybe too much makeup, or the person with the tattoo all over their neck, and it's almost frowned down upon. I feel that the corporate culture really needs to embrace allowing us to be our true self. And I know we overhear this term of being authentic. It's almost this trend which consulting firms want us to bring our real self to work. But that also does not only depend on, being able to embrace and express your whole personality, but also not being judged by the way that you look, what you have in your body, and by your accent. Like, how many of us change our accents when we talk to a client? My client voice comes on and it goes from being like rude girl to being like prim proper English. And I hate the idea that you can't show certain aspects of yourself because we're too scared to do that, because we're worried about what other people think. That needs to stop. I've come to this point where now I don't care, and I feel that once you realize, hey, what you're actually worth in the market, which all of you watching this are worth heck tons, you can just easily jump to another company which does value you, does value personality, which allows you to express who you are as well. The next red flag is about age. I feel like almost your age defines how much valuable your opinion is in meetings, in deliverables, in even being able to get the more responsible work. If you have a manager who's like 40 versus a manager who's like 30, I feel like the manager who's 40, their opinion carries more weight, and we need to get this idea. And I feel this happens with job jobs as well, when you're applying for jobs, the amount of years you have means how experienced you are. That doesn't make a difference. It's about the actual work you've done in that job rather than amount of time. You know, equality over quantity. I love this phrase. But we need to stop judging people based on their ages and feeling like they are more important, or you know, they are more wiser, when that really isn't the case. And the brilliant minds I have are working with analysts over than working with senior managers. I'm not going to lie. Senior managers can be really dumb sometimes. Right, so the next red flag is all about perception. I feel that if you're not stressed at work, you're almost not seen to be working as hard. I feel like I always get looks when I'm either laughing or having fun or talking to my colleagues or just chatting. And it's almost like you've got to be working all the time. You've got to be stressed all the time. You've got to be like really serious at work. And I think this kind of ties back upon, you know, bringing your whole self to work. I feel like, you know, in London, we have this idea that you always need to be on your A game. You always need to be working hard or working harder. That you can always be doing better. But you can be doing that whilst having fun, whilst, you know, enjoying your time at work, whilst chatting to your mates about non-work things. As long as you do your work and you do it well, that's all that counts. So stop judging other people. So the next red flag is, in a lot of corporate firms, it's not about how good you do your work, but it's about your network, about who you know, especially in like things like promotion, in your talent reviews, in your panels. It's about who speaks up for you. If an equity partner speaks up to you versus a senior manager, the equity partner is going to have more weight, and because like they're more well known or more influential, it's more likely that you'll get promoted if you have more partners vouching up for you versus than like a couple of senior managers. You're more likely to get promoted, and a lot of the time it's about visibility rather than how good you actually do your job. And it's really sad to say that, because sometimes the person who shouts louder, this person who kind of brags a little bit more, gets more recognition than someone who does a better job than them but just doesn't shout or claim about their achievements. And since we're talking about people, I think I'll leave this on a final red flag. There's so many red flags, but people at work can really snake each other rather than support each other. And I'm actually really keen to hear about some of the instances that's happened in your jobs, but it can be something really small to things really big. And a really small thing, for instance, is that I remember when I first joined my firm, there was a manager who basically used to say that my work was their work whenever it was praised by a partner, and whenever their work was shat on a partner, they said it was my fault when I had nothing to do with that work. So you do get really toxic managers, micromanagers as well, who really just like throw you under the bus and play really dirty. And it's not sometimes not even managers, sometimes it's even peers, when they'll say that they'll put the blame on you. And I just don't understand. There's so much room for all of us to get the promotions we want, to kind of learn, develop with each other. I'm not saying my firm's like this, it's really supportive, but sometimes you have the odd person who can be like this, and you get this odd person in all the firms. Just play nice, there's no need to be mean. And with that, I'm gonna cut off the red flags there. I have got a couple of videos on how to be more confident and also toxic hustle culture coming out soon, so make sure you stay tuned to watch that. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and I will see you next week. Bye.